So I have Nygeria Smith with us today. She is an HR specialist. How you doing?
I'm doing great. And yourself?
I'm well, Nigeria. So can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and your experience?
Sure. So I'm from Brooklyn, New York, and I
Woo-hoo.
HR for about 3.5 years. I started as an HR assistant, moved up to HR coordinator. I was a HR generalist before the
Nice.
pandemic hit. And then after that, I just started doing like HR contract jobs until like
Hmm.
I found like the right job, or maybe
Yeah,
I like contracting though, so I might stay for a little while.
I love it. I've recently transitioned into that. It's like I'm never going back to a 9 to 5. Goodbye.
Yeah.
So how did you get into HR?
I got into HR completely by accident.
Hmm.
After I finished college, I was actually with this hospitality company. It was actually a restaurant group, and I was a reservationist. And when I graduated, I kind of was like, okay, well, it's time to move, time to, learn something else. And I
Hmm.
actually reached out to the HR director and had like a meeting, just asking her if there were like any internal positions available. And
Hmm.
she'll let me know. And she reached out to me and told me that, an HR assistant position was available. I kind of was like, blah, because I
Right.
really wanted events assistant, with the excitement,
Yeah.
the thrill. But she said, give it a try. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. And I realized that I should have been HR all my life.
Yeah. Yeah, I give it to you. I had an interest in HR back in the day, but I was like, I don't want to go to school for it. I just don't. But HR has changed. When I was
Yeah.
younger, HR was typically the older women in the office, much respect. But now HR is getting younger, it's getting more advanced. So I think that's super dope that you found it and you stuck with it. So Nigeria, let's talk benefits, right? um, so a lot of people, they don't really know all of their benefits or how they work. So there's a few different types, right? There
Yes.
are PTO, my favorite, um, sick leave, maternity leave, medical leave, and then there's time off for grievance. Am I missing some? Are there any other types of benefits or?
Well, no, those are just about just about all of them you kind of gave. I know, like some of them go into others, but yeah, that's
Yeah.
generally the benefits.
Yeah, and then I know there's insurance, but that's a whole nother beast that we'll tackle another day. I didn't want to get that far. I really wanted people to know more about like how the benefits can work for them. And can you just touch on how important it is for employees to know their benefits and how they work?
So it is so important for employees to know their benefits and how it works. And it's so funny because when I used to be an HR assistant, I used to always do this, and I used to give out like benefit packets and like let the employees know, like, please go through it. Any questions you have, reach out. And 99.9% of the time, they throw it out. They
True.
throw it out between the office, throw it in their bag, never to be seen again. They wait until they leave the office and throw it out on the street. It's gone.
Hmm.
Seen again. And then now they don't know about these benefits. They don't know what the company offers them and how they may help them in their time of need. So I
Yeah.
hope like that is the worst thing for someone to do, to just throw away the benefit packet, not even just glance through it or anything like that. Because then it's like you're not, you don't have the knowledge, you don't have the tools.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I tell you what, they do glance through it, but most people only look at what days they get paid,
Yeah.
what the overtime looking like, lateness policies and all that. But when it comes to benefits, I'm guilty of it too. It's just like, oh, it's too much to read. But
Yeah.
that's the most important part of the packet. Um, so let's dive into some of them. So let's first start off with PTO and sick leave. I want people to understand the difference because I know in New York things kind of blend into one another. So can you just discuss that?
So PTO is paid time off, and that's basically, time that the company gives you to take off. So that's usually like people use it for vacation time, and some people, use their paid time off when they are sick as well.
Hmm.
Now, sick leave is just specifically used for when you're sick, but in New York City, it kind of goes together because
Yeah.
the company is told like, please give your employees sick leave, and it's just like hours for sick leave for in case you're sick. So basically, it's like 40 hours they give you, and sometimes it could be accrued. or sometimes it can be given to you straight once you start your first day.
Yeah.
But a lot of people realize, like in New York City, like the sick leave and your PTO are like one and the same.
Yeah.
Because the company is told like you just need to provide the employees with this 40 hours.
Right. So just let me be clear though, right? So you get the 40 hours, let's say when you first get hired, and that's for PTO. But if you need a sick day, they'll dip into the PTO hours bank and credit that towards your sick leave, right? Okay, that's where my problem lies. And I've heard a lot of people get upset with this because it's like, why should I use my time for vacation for days that I'm sick? And I think that's been an ongoing discussion. Have employees ever come to you with like those type of issues?
Of course, because most companies use your PTO until you have no more PTO.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that way it's like when you're sick, you're supposed to use your PTO for your sick time. That's what it's for, but it's also supposed to be used for your vacation time as well. So a lot of employees have sat down with me and told me, you know, like, this is ridiculous. Like, especially hourly, you know, a lot of hourly employees sat down like, this is ridiculous. Like 5 days, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, how am I supposed to and how am I supposed to, you know, take sick days? And that becomes the problem. So a lot of people don't know how to balance, and because they do miss out on, you know, days. They miss out on pay, and that's the bottom line. A lot of people don't like missing out on pay.
No one does. Shit. Well, for me, I feel like
us all to work. You know,
that's really what it comes down to.
That's what it is. Nobody likes not getting paid.
Yeah, I work for free.
It's very frustrating because it's one and the same.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Yeah, and I feel like companies should do better to separate that. Give me 2 weeks paid vacation, okay, and then I'll use PTO for the sick leave. But when you only have that 1 week or that 40 hours, it becomes very challenging. But it's good for employees to know. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was actually going to say I've been on both spectrums, where I've been with a company where the hourly employees only receive 40 hours and that's it for vacation and sick time, and that was it. And I've been with a company where they give employees 5 days and that's your sick days, and they give employees like another 5 days and that's your vacation days. And I can tell you, it is, you can see the difference in an employee.
Yeah.
Because they come into the HR office fired up and ready, because they expect you to be like, I'm sorry, you only have these 5 days because that's what they're used to. And I'm like, no, like, you have extra days. They're just like, it's like everything stops. Like now they're the people in the world, and I love that feeling because I understand. I love it.
I mean, everyone loves vacation. But yeah, see, that's why when people hear terms like comprehensive benefits package, when you're looking at jobs, it's good to look into those to see what they offer when it comes to like PTO, sick leave, see if they're blended or separate.
Every company is different. Some companies can give you that extra days, and some companies just blend it together. And that's a lot. I know a lot of companies in New York City that just blend it together. Yeah.
So it's really good to do your research, you know, before jumping into that. So let's move on. I want to talk about maternity leave, especially since, you know, our audience is mainly women. I feel like there's a lot of gray areas around maternity leave. So can you touch on that?
Yes, it is a lot of gray areas in maternity leave. But one thing to remember is you can receive maternity leave if you're part-time or full-time. Part-time or a full-time employee. You just have to look into it. I believe there's a certain amount of days you needed to have worked for an employee part-time, and it's like 100 and something. I don't want to give you the wrong fact, but it is. They have like for part-time and full-time employees, you are eligible for you know, maternity leave, and now that's in which one do you want to take?
Right.
So, and for New York City, you have the paid family leave, and now that's up to 12 weeks of paid family leave to, you know, just to bond with your child. And now you also have short-term disability. Short-term disability it's up to about 26 weeks, but it does cap at about $170 a week.
Yeah.
So that's the one a lot of people are like, what am I going to do with $170 a week?
Girl, that was me a couple months ago.
Yes, and then you also have Family and Medical Leave Act, and that's for, like, you know, a lot of people use that as well if, like, you know, they're having serious complications with their pregnancies. And with that, you can use that to also bond with your child as well. So that's something that's kind of like a gray area for that one, because you can, I've seen women use that because, they, it's a lot of things that, you can get while pregnant, whether it's, your legs is too swollen and you can't work.
Yeah.
So I've seen women use that for a leave as well.
So you're saying like during pregnancy, like before birth, if I wasn't feeling well, I could use my sick leave or the FMLA to take time away?
Yes, especially if you go to a doctor and the doctor's telling you, like, listen, you cannot work anymore. If you could, if you provide that documentation, there are leaves that you can take.
Okay, great. So for maternity leave, let's just get back to that really quickly. I had a friend who, she went on her maternity leave, but the amount of money she received was just so minimal. I know every company is different, but like, what are some ways women can kind of look out or learn more to see what they'll be entitled to post birth?
So what I love about New York City is they have the paid family leave. So with paid family leave, you can use that leave to bond with your child, and that's up to 12 weeks, and it is 60% of your weekly wage. So if you are pregnant and you are due soon, you can you can Google New York City paid family leave, and you can actually go on a website, and they actually have a tool that they actually provide you with, where you can put in your gross weekly wages, your last 8 weeks of pay, and you can put it into this calculator, and it basically calculates how much money you will receive while you're on leave.
Oh, that's great. That's super resourceful. I'll drop the link when I post this, because that's great. But yeah, women, all the women I know who've had children and went on maternity leave, they always complained and they said it wasn't enough time and it wasn't enough money. You were telling me about someone who moved their maternity leave around?
Yes. So with a lot of women just take short-term disability, and they take short-term disability, and they usually just take like 8 weeks, and with that, it's capped at $170. So that's probably the benefit they're talking about. That's so minimum, but a lot of women don't know, especially in New York City, you can apply for short-term disability and you can apply for unpaid family leave, and they can run concurrently.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
But the only thing is, I believe you have to make sure that you're within 52 weeks of the year. You have to be working. You have to be out of work only 26 weeks.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yes, with paid family leave, you can use that within 12 months from your child, from the day of your child has been born.
See, that's it right there.
Yes.
Keep going.
That one, I've seen women just use this like short-term disability. They use it for about like 6 to 8 weeks, and they'll come back and they'll apply for paid family leave, because you, like I said, you have within 12 months of the date of your child's birth. So you can apply for it, and basically you can choose the time period that you would like to take off. So I've seen someone give birth in like March, a little short-term disability for about 8 weeks, came back, and then took her paid family leave during Thanksgiving.
Oh, she's smart.
The next, in the new year, because you have 12, the 12 months.
That's how you do it.
Yes.
And that's really smart. See, and I feel like a lot of women don't know that. Most of the women I know, they just go directly from time of birth, take the 3 months, and then come back, and they still feel rushed, or they didn't get to spread it out. So it's really useful to use the short-term disability.
And also with paid family leave, as women, we're not only giving birth to children. We're adopting children. We're having foster children, and a lot of women don't realize you can use that leave as well to bond with your child.
Wow, I didn't know that.
In 12 months from when you're you have adopted your child, you received your child in foster care. Those are the only 2 leaves that you can use beforehand. So for example, your paid family leave, when you bond with the child, like give birth, starts the day your child is born.
Yeah.
But with adoption and like foster, like, you know, getting a foster child, like if you have a certain court date that says like, you know, your child will be placed this day and you can provide that documentation, you can start your leave during that time.
Wow, it's super useful.
But one important thing to always remember, and a lot of women definitely forget or don't even know, is some of these leaves you have to apply for before a certain time. Like for example, bond with your child leave or anything like that. Like the paid family leave, some of the paid family leave you must apply within 30 days before. So if you know you know.
Yeah, you got to do your due diligence.
Start filling out your paperwork and getting everything together, because you want to make sure that everything's set when you're in the hospital. What you want to be able to have to do is bring in your child's birth certificate, or like hospital. I've seen women who were like so scared that they weren't going to get the leave, that they actually called me when they're in the hospital. Like, I just gave birth. Is there anything I need to do? And I tell them like, no, like relax. But you know, if you want, you can get like a doctor's note to say like you gave birth.
Yeah.
And just give a little, you know, like that can be proof as documentation as well.
Yeah.
With you know, your paid family leave.
Yeah. So it's really good to prepare in advance if you know you're going to be away.
And it's really good to know that a lot of these leaves run concurrently, especially for bonding with the child. They run concurrently, so you can utilize that time, figure out like, okay, I want to be out these days or these weeks, and you know, just maneuver around it, because color, we don't know these things. And I've seen women not a color maneuver to make sure that they are with their child and to be able to not miss special occasions and things like that.
Yeah, for sure. That's why I think it's so important to do your research. Which leads me into my next question, is just how can people get more involved and more knowledgeable about their benefits so they can advocate for themselves?
Of course. So one place I love to look for any new information is Google. Google brings you the correct place. You can be as blunt as you want in that Google tool, and they will bring you to the right place. And a lot of people forget that these benefits don't just appear out of nowhere. So there is here to check where you can be like, I don't think that sounds right. Like, let me check to make sure that that's the correct information that was given to me. Because sometimes, you know, HR people, I want to say, you know, we're overworked like most people, and, you know, we're trying to do our best to provide, you know, the best that we can do to all the employees and give the correct information. And sometimes, you know, they might not know like a benefit's been updated, like the paid family leave. Since I've been an HR representative, it has increased. It went just about weeks. So, you know, always be aware that you can always check the dates on the internet, and there are websites dedicated just solely on you understanding your benefits and understanding these federal benefits or any kind of benefits, just online. It's online. Definitely remember your HR representative at your company is your advocate. Like, you know, if you don't understand something, try to see if they can explain it to you. You know, just bring the problem to them. Don't wait for the problem to explode to try to have
that part. Yeah, I've definitely been in that position. It's so good to lean on the HR representatives in your office, because they really have the knowledge. And then if not, you know, use Google and find those tools. I know the state offers a lot of information on their pages. So if you're a resident or somebody outside of New York, you know, there's differences in every state, so they have to check what applies. But yeah, there's so many resources out there, and I think it's important, especially that women of color really learn them and be knowledgeable so we can really represent ourselves in the office. Do you have any more advice to give to, you know, women trying to navigate, you know, their career journey and benefits?
One thing I want to tell women of color is, you know, we're here. I know you might not see us, but there has been a lot of diversity in the HR fields where I've seen a lot more men of color, women of color step in because, you know, we understand how hard it is to try to understand benefits or to try to even want an employee to understand their benefits. Because sometimes, you know, employees, they just feel like no one cares. Like they're just here to do a job and they're here to get paid and they want to go home and that's it. They don't feel like the company can help them or, you know, benefit them at any point. And, you know, I want to say like, that's why, you know, I've seen a lot of diversity in the HR field with, you know, people of color because, you know, we want to make sure that people like us are given benefits and they understand it just like anyone else. And that's it. The bottom line.
The bottom line.
We're on the top. We understand.
Yeah. I love that. That's amazing. And I am happy to see so many more people of color stepping into those HR roles because I feel like back in the day, it wasn't too many of us in those positions. And that I'm not trying to knock HR, but it's not like that's a high power position. It's no reason why there aren't more of us in those, you know, settings. So I want to thank you for stepping into HR. You know, you kind of fell into it. I think you really blossomed with HR. And thank you for sharing so much useful information for us, you know, to become more knowledgeable and advocate for ourselves. I'm going to add all your Instagram and all your good stuff in here. Is there any last words you want to say before we head out?
So my last words would be, you know, to any woman of color, like, keep going. I know it's hard and I know it feels like you're the only person in that office of color, but hey, like, you're there and you're there to make a difference and you're there to diversity. You know, bring diversity to the company. Show them, like, I don't want to be the only Black person in the office, or, you know, like, maybe we need to diversity. That's why I've seen a lot of programs centered on diversity, you know, for companies and things like that.
It's about damn time.
Just keep going. Just keep going.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for joining us today at the HR Corner. Miss Smith. Yes, I'm calling you Miss Smith. Okay. We appreciate it. Thank you for helping us out with our benefits today.
And thank you for having me.
Yeah, girl. Anytime.